So you want to become a sorcerer. You want to manipulate the powers of unbridled corruption. That's all fine and dandy, but to wield arcane knowledge you must first find the source. Be aware that this video will include spoilers for the new Age of Sorcery breadcrumb quest covering the introduction of sorcery into the Exiled lands. If you enjoy the journey of discovering things for yourself, I am about to spoil that for you. So without further ado, let's get started. So the intended path to begin sorcery could be an arduous one if you don't know where to look. You're intended to find and slay many of the new sorcerer NPCs dotted around the map, eventually looting satchels from the corpses. From there you'll open the satchels and eventually find a dead sorcerer's map, which points you to the western river that runs through the desert. However, this is absolutely optional. Instead you can skip that step entirely and just head straight for the river. Where exactly are you headed? We're going to Shaleback Hollow, a cave on the cusp of the unnamed city that is filled with, of course, shalebacks. After slaying the few beasts within, head through the cave until it breaks through to a secondary cavern beneath the unnamed city. After traversing the entrance to the cavern, you'll find yourself on a platform that was clearly the campsite of some sorcerer that has since disappeared. Looming ahead on the table is the Tome of Kurak, the key to unlocking sorcery. Take the book from the table and your journey towards corruption can begin. It's also worth noting that if you drop down and climb the rock face the giant king statues sit upon, there are 4 chests here that can provide you some valuable early game loot unrelated to sorcery. On Siptah, you'll need to head to Riverwatch Keep in map square N10. Approaching through the river from the east, you'll find a small cave entrance near the Iron Gate. This is a narrow winding cave that leads down to an identical room to the one found in the Exiled lands, within which you can find the Tome of Kurak. At any point you can examine your tome and see what spell you last learned in the bottom of the item description. This will update as you upgrade the book, showing you what you last learned. For me it shows the Transmitory Stone as my book is maxed out, but I believe at first the book will show the Ice Bridge spell and knowledge of the Thaumaturgy bench. So once you've procured your tome from the ancient cavern, what's the next step? Well, using the Thaumaturgy bench we're going to be upgrading the book. There are 3 ways to do so, 1 that involves farming and 2 that involves thrall breaking. The first is simply to find and slay as many sorcerers as possible to farm sorcerous spell pages. This is probably the slowest yet most lucrative method, as whilst the pages we're looking for drop fairly infrequently, you'll receive a fair amount of failed sorcerer spell pages, alongside satchels that can provide you with the Skelos Master recipes and pouches for reagents. This can be a fairly good method as of course some of those pouches are fairly expensive to craft, and also the failed sorcerer's pages are very useful for the next method. For the second and third method, let's head back to the testing tower. For the second method, all we'll need is a Thaumaturgy bench, a Wheel of Pain, a Torturer's work table, and a Sorcery Thrall. Keep hold of any of the failed sorcerer's pages you found so far as they'll be used in this method. Firstly, craft a truncheon and some bindings at the Torturer's table. Head out, find a sorcerer, knock them out, and bring them back to the wheel. It doesn't matter what tier they are, as, at least at the time of writing, all sorcerers provide the same bonuses and have the same crafting capabilities. Once they're broken into a thrall, place them onto the Thaumaturgy table. 2 new recipes will appear on the bench for sorceress pages. The second recipe requires 10 failed sorceress pages and takes a short time to craft. 10 failed pages will create 1 sorceress page, which will be enough to upgrade the book once. If you have a stockpile of failed pages or you're farming sorcerers for pouches, this is a great method for acquiring complete sorceress spell pages. For the final method we'll again use our Sorcery Thrall. Alongside with the previous benches we'll also need a casting table, a sacrificial stone, an artisan table and a dyer's bench requiring a minimum level of 22. Looking back at the recipe, each page requires a papyrus scroll, 1 flask of sacrificial blood and 1 inking brush. The inking brush can be made at the dyer's bench, the papyrus at the artisan table, and the sacrificial blood flask can be made by crafting a glass flask at the casting table and then sacrificing a human NPC for blood at the sacrificial stone. With these ingredients placed within the bench you can set your Sorcerer Thrall to begin crafting a page, which doesn't take too long. To fully upgrade your book you'll need 20 pages, according to the bench anyway, so it shouldn't take too long to gather the necessary resources using this method. It's also worth noting that if you ever lose your Tome of Kurak, you can craft a new one at the Thaumaturgy bench using 20 papyrus and 2 leather. Regardless of your method, alongside the pages, you will need a wide variety of other resources of varying difficulty. Some early upgrades only require basics like stones, feathers, putrid meat, etc., but later upgrades will require dragon horns, demon blood, dragon powder and more. This wide variety of resources is probably designed to encourage exploration across the map and give you something to consistently aim for throughout your gameplay. Of course, as you upgrade the tome, you'll begin to learn more spells and recipes for crafting stations, until you've fully upgraded the book and learnt everything arcane there is to know, so far. And there we have it, how to acquire and fully upgrade the Tome of Kurak. Thanks for watching. The upgrade process of the Tome of Kurak can be pretty confusing at a glance. I know that I was confused at first, but hopefully this makes things a lot clearer for you. If you enjoy my content, all the links to my Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Patreon, Host Havoc affiliate page, NordVPN discount and NordPass discount are available in the description below. However, of course, you can simply just leave a like, a comment or subscribe. Any of those are very greatly appreciated. Patrons get a bunch of nice benefits, including sneak peeks of videos, your name in every video, custom made wallpapers in 1080p and 4K resolutions, full-size build blueprints, Discord roles and more. As always, a massive thanks to our patrons Sedilot, Randar, Connor, Ivy, Torn, Ill-Fated, Coffeeman04, Jacques, Marion Ladd, Ronald, Baron, Ghosty Pants, Ryan, Ben, Alfric, Eagle Rose, Melanie, and X-Screechers X. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.